Hey guys, EBPMAN here. Now in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can install on your Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra the dome glass screen protector. Watch this video first at least once, because we're going to go step by step on how to do the install, and then once you watched it once, then do it a second time while you're doing your installation to get the best fit. Let's get right to it. Now, we've had the dome glass screen protectors on all our phones for years now, and this year we're going to be installing it on the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, and every year the install changes slightly because they have some new tech involved. So check out what's included in the box. First of all, what you have on this side here are two screen protectors. So the kit that we have has two glass screen protectors, and then it also has a series of accessories that are going to be cleaning wipes as well as alcohol swabs that are going to absorb any excess UV liquid, and then also this little release mechanism that you'll see in a second. You'll see what these two things are used for, but these are going to be for covering your speaker grill at the upper portion of your handset. We also then have a UV light, which is used to cure the actual liquid and create a bond to your screen. There's no damage that happens to your screen, and I have uninstalled it, and it has had no ill effect to my phone. You then have here a something that you would probably call a jig, which is going to allow you to place your phone in place and then align it perfectly so that when you place it, you get a really nice alignment of your screen. Now here you have something that's interesting. This rubber piece is used to place some weight at the very bottom where your fingerprint sensor is going to be. So when we do the install, right, we're going to be placing this right on the actual fingerprint sensor, and you'll see how that works as we start going through this entire process. So this is going to be a must, right? And then these are just some other components that you'll see in a second. And then over here what you have is some UV gel, and they give you three containers, and this is the liquid, the adhesive that will make the screen protector stick. The cool thing about the screen protector is that it's durable. It doesn't have bubbles underneath if you do it right. And then second is that you basically are not going to have any liquid that's going to get underneath the screen once it's on. So if you're working out, if your phone gets wet, it's not going to bother it at all. So let's check out the installation process. Now, the very first step in the process is we're going to take these strips that you see right here, and we are going to be covering the areas of the phone that we don't want any kind of liquid to seep into. So when you look at this right here, we're going to place one right here. We're going to place one right here in the bottom. That's going to be the second one. And then we're going to put one over here, which is going to be the third one. So bottom, bottom, left, and right. And there isn't anything on this side here that I can see that we have to worry about, so we're not going to place anything here. So one here because there's a pinhole mic, and one over here. So at least it'll be on the three sides. Now, when I work with the actual black tape, one of the things I wanted to highlight is you don't really have to have this super perfect. It's not about perfection, but I do want to highlight one thing. When you place it, you'll notice right here that I am not covering the glass, right? So what I'm covering are the buttons. So what I try to do is put them in a place where they're not coming too close up on the glass, because that's going to interfere with your screen protector. So let's make sure that gets into focus right there so you can see what I'm talking about. So you'll notice that it's right here, right, that is not being covered. The glass is not being covered, but I'm going a little bit further back. It's okay for it to cover the back area right here a little bit, but not the front. All right, now let's take a look at the finished product here. So you can see, once again, we'll get that really close so you can see that. So you can see the glass is not being covered anyway. And when we go right here, you'll notice again, the glass is not being covered, right? So that's exposed right here. It's okay to get a little bit on the back over here, but not in the front area right here. And then here we don't have anything to worry about, and on the bottom we're doing the exact same thing, right? So making sure that the glass is clear. So now what we're going to do is going to wipe this down and go on to the next step. Now as we wipe this down, a couple things that you should consider. Even if this is a brand new phone, you just took it right out of the box, you want to wipe this down with the alcohol wipes, and then you'll dry it up with the actual cloth that's included. And you want to do this in an environment that has no central air running, no fans running, none of that stuff going, because if you do, it's going to lift up that material. And you want to take your time here, right? And if you need to take out a flashlight, take out a flashlight, because you'll want to light this up to make sure that there isn't any kind of speck, dust, because once it's under the screen and it's cured, there's no turning back. You can just take it off. And let's face it, you don't want to do that. So now that I have the screen wiped down, the next thing I'm going to do is going to work on the jig. And we're going to come back to it. So we're going to double check it, triple check it before we actually do it. And as we're looking at the jig, there's a couple things that we need to do. First of all, we have to take these absorbent, I would say, cotton strips, and we're going to put them in each side. And what this is going to do is if any kind of liquid basically goes off the edge, it is going to get trapped here, right? So it's going to prevent it getting on your desk or getting on any kind of surface. So make sure you put that in, you lock it into place just like that. Now once you've installed the cotton strips, what we're going to do is we're going to remove this piece right here, which is we're going to use, and it's going to trap the liquid. We're going to be putting this in a second, and then the liquid is going to go through here and align it at the very top. We're going to take this little piece of plastic, which is going to be for the top portion, and we're going to put it right here and lock it into place. Now we're going to take our phone, and keep in mind you're going to be touching the screen, so we're going to have to wipe this off again, and you'll see that I'll be wiping it off repeatedly throughout the whole process. I'm going to take the phone and I'm going to snap it into place on each side, right? And you notice that as you do it, there's these little points here. They're going to contact it and lock it into place. You want them locked in because that means that it's going to be flush. Now, as you're working with this, one of the things that you may be running into is that your surface itself may not be flat, right? So you're going to want to watch this, and you're going to want to watch where the bubble actually lands. So as you put the liquid in, which you're going to see in a couple seconds after we put a couple more pieces, if you do find that the liquid starts to move in a direction, you'll want to prop it up somewhat, right? So I typically keep some pieces of paper or something close by because not everyone's floor or desk surface is flat. So just keep that in mind because you don't want the bubble going anywhere. You want it to stay in the middle, and you're going to see that in a second. So wiping this down again, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a flashlight to make sure that this top portion where I'm going to put the next piece, which is this little film that you see here, right here, isn't going to find anything in its way. Now the next step is to put this film right here to cover your speaker. And what I find the easiest way to do it is to do it this way. You don't want to place it this way because it gets a little bit challenging. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right here, and then as I'm doing it, I'm bringing it forward just like that, and then that allows it to get covered over that area right there. And then I'm going to push down. I want to make sure that it didn't flip up, and see that's exactly what happened to me, and I was afraid that was going to happen. So I'm going to inspect it one more time because you want it to be flat, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. So again, what I'm doing is from this way over here so that it falls in place. And so I'm going to take a closer look to make sure it's covering the speaker, and then I'll go over it with my finger. All right, so now that I have that plastic piece in place, let me show you what it's going to look like. We're going to get that a little close right there, let that focus, and you can see how it is covering just a slight area right there. It's really, really slim. But that's now in place, and we're good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe it down one more time, and then we're going to go on to the next step. Now the next step in the process is to take this little piece right here, and we're going to slide it in here. This is what you're going to be using once you place the glass to remove it and allow it to fall down. Now, before we put this on, I'm going to go ahead and use these stickers that you see right here to go over the glass one more time, inspect it again before we actually disperse the liquid. All right, so now that I've gone through it with this little plastic piece, and all I did is I just went through it completely up and down, I want to put this piece in place. And I'm going to check this every single step of the way because I just want to make sure there isn't any dust going through. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this liquid and I'm going to release the bottom portion of the cap that has this color, and we're going to place it in here. No liquid is going to come out until I open up the top. That's when the liquid is going to come out. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this cap and do it over here on the side. All right. I'm going to place it right here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the top. And as soon as I open the top, liquid is going to start coming out. And this may be a little tight, so we'll go ahead and twist it. And you can see the liquid coming out. Now I'm tilting this slightly because I know my desk is a little bit off. I want to make sure that the liquid doesn't really run, so I have lifted it up just like that. If I didn't do that, I know that the actual liquid would go towards the corner. So what I may do, just for the heck of it, is I may prop it up right here just to make sure that it doesn't move. We'll see if it doesn't or not. I don't think it's going to be the case in mine. But what you want to do is you just want to keep it here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to put another piece of paper or something on this side just to keep it up so that I have it leveled, right? And let's face it, not all of us are going to have a leveled surface to make it work. And you see how it's still moving? It's because I'm not really leveled. Because what you want to do is make sure that it stays like somewhere right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two pieces again, put these two pieces underneath each other and see if it stays there. And that looks a little bit better. It's not moving as much, which makes me more comfortable. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and what I like doing is tilting it a little bit. There's always some liquid left, just to make sure that everything is out. And if nothing else comes out, what I'll do is I'll put the top cap back on, right? And I'll push this to the side. And because I'm like double checking, I'm going to check one more time that there isn't any dust. So just as I expected, there was a little speck right there that I wanted to catch. I did catch it. And now what I'm going to do is place the glass in place. Now installing the glass does have a little film on it. I'm going to go ahead and remove that film first. And then this is going to be the important part, right? You want to make sure, so I'm going to make sure that that bubble goes back up because my desk is a little bit off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it right here and let it rest, right? This little pin has to make sure that you have it out. I'm going to make sure that this rests right on top of it. So you notice it's there. And I want to make sure that everything on the sides looks good and that when I release it, it's going to fall into place. So let me just double check that. All right, so now that that looks good, what you want to do is let go so that the bubble falls right in the middle there. And then once it's in the middle, you're going to release it just like this. Now I'm going to just keep this side so that things are leveled. You're going to wait about 60 seconds for all of the liquid to disperse. And you can see how the liquid is dispersing all the way through. And again, I'm doing this the way where I don't have a level desk. Typically when you have a level desk, you wouldn't have to go through what I just went through right there. But so far this is looking good. And you'll notice how it's right now starting to make its way to the bottom. Over here it looks like it's doing really good up here on the top. And we'll just let it disperse for 60 seconds. Now the next step in the process that we've waited 60 seconds is we're going to take this piece of rubber and we're going to put it right here on the bottom of the screen. And it's right now, you'll notice, kind of touching these 2 points is how I do it. And I'm just going to let it there and I'm going to wait 30 more seconds. Now while that's doing its thing, let's take a look at this actual UV light. You're going to notice that there's a 15-second UV dot and then there's a 60-second UV dot. The very first time around we're going to be doing 15-second kind of curing sessions. So you'll want to make sure that you press it once. That's going to give you 15 seconds. You don't have to use a timer. And then when you want to do the 60-second one, you'll press it twice, and that's going to be the 60-second, then it'll turn off. So we'll start that in a second. Now that the 30 seconds have passed, we're going to go ahead and remove the actual block from the bottom here. Right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a 15-second cure. So I'm going to place this right here at the very bottom. I'm going to start it at the bottom, and we're going to press this button once. And we're going to wait 15 seconds. And remember, it's going to turn off as soon as it's done. Now the next step is to do the same thing at the top, and then you'll do the middle. Next, I'm going to do the middle. Now that we've completed that process, we're going to remove the phone out of the jig and we're going to cure it again. Now to remove the phone out of the jig, don't worry. All you have to do is just press on the sides and it will pop out. And that's all there is to it. We'll also remove the tape on the sides, and then I'm going to wipe this down with the alcohol wipes. Let's go ahead and do that. Now the next curing stage is going to be a 60-second, and we're going to do bottom top. So we're going to press this twice. So that's a 60-second, and we're going to hold it there. So it's only 60 at the bottom and in the top, and then we're going to do it one more time. We're going to do 60 seconds again on the bottom and the top, so we're going to do it twice. The top now. And now we're done. All right, so now what we're going to do is check the fingerprint to see if it works. So we're going to tap the screen. We're going to use our fingerprint, and it works. Now, how well does the screen respond? Feels great. And for those of you who are curious about whether there are any bubbles or anything underneath, you'll notice that my paranoia pays off. Nothing underneath the screen. Now, how well does it work with a case on? Here you can see the actual case on, and everything, if we do this again, works perfectly. We'll do it from the off position. Works too. So guys, that was our installation of the Whitestone dome glass on the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. See you in the next video.